Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe just to kick it off and kind of one more thing in way of update. You talked a lot the last time you were here about Twitter, and I wonder if you can kind of give us an overview of where you think the business has gone in the last year.
Yeah. So when was that I talked?
It was just about this time last year.
Right.
So
Twitter was at the beginning or in the middle of its kind of hyper growth period a year ago, and it was really interesting to watch a company go through that period. And in any service, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or certainly in any social service, there's a fair amount of I would say either churn, or maybe a better word would be to use trial and then departure from the service. I know that happened with me with Facebook. I tried it 2 or 3 times before I really decided that I was going to use Facebook regularly. But anyway, so Twitter went through this period where they added about 50 million users worldwide in about 6 months, and that was hugely exciting growth spurt for them. In the second half of last year, the company grew each and every month, but maybe they added 15 or 20 million users worldwide in the second half of last year. So, it looked like the service was slowing down, but I think from my perspective, what happened was a lot of the press around the Ashton CNN thing, or the Oprah thing, or the Iraq thing, or whatever it was, drew a lot of novices to the service who signed up, created an account, and then really just didn't see anything there that was interesting to them, and then left. And so the second half of last year was really about putting the pieces in place for Twitter to be a real company, because when you have now close to 100 million registered users worldwide, there's got to be a business there somewhere. And so the company went from about 50 people in the middle of last year to, somewhere around 150 people today. And the vast majority of those people are software engineers working on all sorts of different things. And so that's a huge growth spurt for any company, tripling in size. And there's been a layer of management that's been added to the company. They have a new CFO and a new COO, and so all of that has been very positive. But you don't hear about it very much. You don't see it, and I think slowly people are going to start to see the company do some things. They cut a bunch of revenue-producing business deals in the very late part of fall of last year, and they're going to be rolling out their first sort of advertising system sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. And so, that's all sort of the maturation of a business. It's still growing, 10% a month or something. So hard to call a business that's growing 10% a month mature, but it is certainly a real business now that, has a significant amount of revenue and significant number of employees. They moved 3 times in the past year. That in itself is pretty hectic and chaotic. I think there's something really special in Twitter. It's very different than Facebook, at least the way I look at it. The people that I'm connected to on Facebook are my friends. So my rule with Facebook is that I don't have any friends on Facebook that I wouldn't invite to a wedding or a bar mitzvah. And so I have somewhere less than 100 friends on Facebook. And Twitter for me is the exact opposite. It's a service where anybody who wants to connect to me can connect to me, and I think of it very much like my blog. Anybody who wants to read my blog can read my blog, and anybody who wants to follow me on Twitter can follow me on Twitter. The difference is that everybody has an identity on Twitter, and so there is the beginnings of what one could call a social graph that you could create on a service like Twitter that you can't really create with a blog. And there's a lot of interesting opportunity, I think, for Twitter, because it sits, in my mind, squarely between something like a blog and something like Facebook, and can extract some of the value that you get from both models. And so I'm very enthusiastic about it. I think it's different than blogging. It's different than a social network like Facebook, and it's something unto its own. And there's nothing else really out there like it. So I think it will be a important part of the social media landscape for many years.